Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon, and by your tips and memberships on Coffee. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. And as always, thank you for all your support, including sharing, chatting, liking, and subscribing. Now roll that famous logo animation. Good evening, and welcome back to Computerized Start Live. I am your host, Justin D. Morgan. I am still fighting with this camera. There we go. I turned on autofocus. I turned off autofocus. Now it's cooperating with me. All right. I believe the chat is probably also cooperating and letting me know that I was a little bit late. Yes, my internet seems to be behaving tonight, but it was not my internet. It was YouTube. Shocker. YouTube was the problem. All right, we have Francois. Francois needs sleep. Sorry. We have Kibbs with Retro. Hi, Kibbs. We have Thomas Armstrong. Hi, Thomas. A Kaypro numbering quiz. Yes. Anyone can name the Kaypros in order without looking up the answer on the internet to win a pat on the back. Because I can't give you much more than that, because I'm sure someone out there like Joe probably has memorized it front and back and could probably start anywhere arbitrarily in the middle and wrap around back. We have Dave's Vintage Apple Tech. Hi, Dave. We have Jack, 68K. Hi, Jack. We have Joey Sartain. Hi, Joey. We have the Toiletist. Hello? Last night I came home to my 12-inch PowerBook G4 in a shallow pool of water. Oh no! Yeah, I certainly hope you can fix that G4 PowerBook. Those are awesome. We have Sorcerer Stan. Hi, Stan. We have I8386SX. Hi, Jesse. We have... Wait a minute. Gutbomb! Hi, Gutbomb. I know I saw someone else in the chat. And... Gutbomb just accidentally learned that ISA can be hot swappable. I think technically anything can be hot swappable. The question is, will it survive? And how much arcing will happen if you do it. Been dared to do a Trident card for Kaypros. I think that just caused it to kind of blow up. We have Retro Tech Chris that's sort of here, kind of here. Hi, Chris. Chris is probably multitasking. We have Joey says Kaypro 2 in Roman numerals, 4 in Roman numerals, 2, 4, 10, 2X, and Robbie. I think you're missing a few model numbers in there, but that generally does appear to be in order. I can't keep up with them myself. Don't forget there is the new 2 in the list somewhere, and you missed the 4X in there somewhere. All right, but before we get to the Kaypro, we are going to, well, I guess we'll go to Wheel of Regrets, Amazon edition. So, I believe it was Monday morning, I placed an order with Amazon. And you might be able to tell by the fact that it's in a padded envelope. This was from a third-party seller. Ah, yes. It is my Weller soldering tips. And these actually do appear to be Weller soldering tips. For the station I bought at Lowe's. All right. No regrets there, because these appear to be what I ordered. Now, will I like them? I don't know, but at least there's some different tips from what came in the package. So, yep, that definitely appears to be a Weller package. So, all right, well, I guess no regrets there. All right, well, that concludes Wheel of Regrets. Now we're on to things you all have sent me, and someone in the chat. Hi, Chris thought I would put his package in Wheel of Regrets. No, things you send me might be regrets, but I put them in the things you send me section. So, as Chris has already admitted to, so there's no sense in hiding who it's from. This is from RetroTech Chris, because, as he said, I think when he sent me a text message earlier in the week, he's like, oh yeah, Michael comes home later this week, gotta clean his room. And tracking number. So, so while his son Michael's at college, he uses Michael's room for storing parts. And then since Michael was coming home for the summer, well, gotta get them out of Michael's room. So here we go. I only know partially what's in here. So, and yes, I do tend to open boxes upside down. Ah, hi Vborg, welcome. Did I miss anyone else in the chat? I don't think so. All right. Whoop. Oh, here we go. And we have... Hey! We have a CD-ROM drive from the Tower of Power. All right. Which, actually, Chris bought these from eBay, the place where I buy the things I later regret. So, actually, Chris was right. This box contains potential regrets. Although I suspect he tested this one. Yes, thank you, Chris. All right. Nice Sony CD-ROM drive with the warning label. Warning. Possible voiding of warranty. Please be aware that cracked, deeply scratched, or other poor quality discs used in this drive may cause damage to the drive and data in the disk. Such disks may break at high speed rotation. If full care is not exercised in relation to this matter, you may void the warranty to this product. All right, we'll keep that in mind, Sony. Thank you for the warning. Oh, hey, Falcor. Long time no see. Welcome. All right, next we have a a Mac floppy disk. Woohoo! Well, okay, we got a Mac floppy disk. Probably taxes or something. 'Cause I remember someone was joking about it. Ah, yes, and Chris grabbed me a few things from the consignment at DCF East. He had posted a picture of things he saw at consignment, and I said, hey, Chris, can you go see if these items are still there, because I'd like a few. So, oh, yeah. Chris says, I have no idea what is on it. I meant to tell you that, but forgot. All right, well. So, Chris picked me up some ATX I/O shields, and specifically, these are the ATX I/O shields for AT motherboards. We have this one here. I think this one's designed to go in a specific case, and I don't know what it is, but maybe someday I'll figure out what case it goes to. I do like the fact that it has the punch-outs for the I/O breakouts, and for the PS2 mouse, if your board has that header on it. Oh, I might have been... Oh, hi, Frank. Welcome. And then we've got another. I seemingly recognize what this goes to because of the two screw holes. I think I might have used... I think I've used this one before a long time ago. But there we go. It's the AT breakout. Same deal for your breakout cables for onboard I/O. But this one's got PS2 mouse and keyboard, or PS2 keyboard and mouse with the AT keyboard breakout if your motherboard needs that. Very cool. All right. Oh, and then we got another like the first one. And another one like this one's like the first one but without those IOs. And then I think we got another one like the second one. All right. So yeah. Thank you very much for picking these up for me, Chris. Yeah, the smaller hole in the larger knockout is weird. Yes, it is weird, but they were covering all the bases because by the time ATX was coming out, I think motherboard manufacturers were also finally starting to use PS2 instead of AT. Probably because they realized the industry was going to PS2 and not AT. Of course, then to eventually go to USB. All right, and that concludes the things you all have sent me segment for today. Oh, hi, Bill. Welcome. All right. Yes, I believe this disc indirectly came from Bill. It was in a bigger box of floppy disks. I think Chris went with this is from the collection that Chris was going through on Dave's stream like 2 weeks ago, I believe. Anyways. Yeah, Chris. I seemingly maybe remember this getting joked about, but I don't know what's on it. If we have time at the end of the stream, I'll pull a Mac out to attempt to read it. If I've got a Mac with disinfectant on it, in case there's a boot sector floppy, but yeah. Okay, well, the disc looks to be in good condition. Anyways, yep. I will set this to the side where hopefully I will not lose it. Oh, oh, wait a minute. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Jack. All right. Oh, yeah, I forgot channel announcements. Oh, and hi, Will. Welcome. Yeah, I forgot the channel announcements. It is May. May is for May Pro. So, you might notice that I've got the May tip jar now. So, Sorcerer Stan says FS1 Flight Simulator 1. Maybe. Maybe. It's a good guess. It's a Rickroll. Yeah, it could be a Rickroll or a virus. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. The May tip jar the tip jar restarted for May. So if you want to give towards the coffee tip jar, the link's in the description. The coffee tips pretty much I can immediately use, but I also do take YouTube super chats and super stickers. Those there's a payout threshold, but you can send those too. I mean, anything's appreciated. Even if all you can do is like the stream and subscribe and turn on notifications and leave cool comments and participate in the chat, because all that channel engagement also helps the channel, because that channel engagement, I know my camcorder won't focus because I have nothing setting there, because I was about to Kaypro. I guess until I get the Kaypro, I can leave a save icon there. There, see, it'll focus on that. Yep, all that channel engagement tells YouTube to then that you like it, and that increases the chance my video will be shown on the sidebar or the recommended videos for people that like content like you, so it all helps the channel. So yes, as Jesse says, don't forget to smash that like button. Not literally, I'm not responsible if you like punch your monitor and leave a gashing hole through it, but yeah, just kind of click it and click it firmly to make sure it takes. I know sometimes you don't click a button firmly enough. Well, I know lousy mouse action happens to us all. Oh, we got... Hey! Thank you, Dave! We got a super chat from Dave for Maypro stuff. All right. Thank you, Dave. And we have 18 watching right now. And YouTube is ingesting data quite nicely, too. So, all right. I think it's time to go get the Kaypro, so this thing doesn't, like, keep hunting on focus and driving everyone nuts. I'll just set that there. And we'll grab the Kaypro. I will need parts for it. At the very least, I need screws for it. Because seriously, there's like, there's no screws holding the case on. Retrotech Chris says, so I bought some LTE 5200s and an LTE Elite 475CX, I think. Yes, I might have been watching some of those auctions, but actually, Frank, it wasn't my internet Tuesday. It wasn't my internet on Tuesday, but I wouldn't have known it until YouTube, Team YouTube got back to me. It was actually YouTube. YouTube was having ingest problems apparently. So, yeah, kind of weird circumstances that I had 2 streams in a row where I had to restart it. But I guess it was last Thursday I had to restart it because the USB wasn't working on my computer, and I unplugged the mic to try to fix the crackling, and then, well, Windows never acknowledged that I unplugged the mic, so it wouldn't let me plug it back in. I mean, I could physically plug it in, but it wasn't baduping. So I had to restart my computer. And then Tuesday, well, I guess YouTube servers decided at some point to just stop ingesting data properly, or I don't know. So, yeah. Yeah, Tim says, I haven't touched the Kaypro since I did the Reefa caps. Yeah, about that. I see a Reefa on the power supply, so we're going to have to inspect it. So, Jesse says, I've had just about enough of Windows for today. That. Oh, all right. The toiletist. Good luck with that repair. I know when you get set up, you gotta focus on repairs. So just focus on the repairs with me in the background, and we'll see in the chat when you got an update for us. And hey, Action Retro Sean's here. He's got I think a poll on X as to what he should install on his totally normal computer. So I voted Sean. I kind of disappointed CPM wasn't a choice, but I think I picked the next best option on that poll, and good luck. My video's about a second behind. Bummer. Oh, thank you, Sorcerer Stan. All right. More Kaypro stuff. Yes. All right, let me... Apparently, I've got... Capcom telling me my video is lagging, so... All right, hopefully by restarting the camera, I have solved the audio-video sync issue, but thank you, Sorcerer Stan. All right, so what have I got here? Well, this is the Kaypro. I tried to show off during Wheel of Regrets last stream, and I haven't actually gone back to see how badly YouTube's ingesting was affecting Wheel of Regrets at that point. But this is a Kaypro that I bought on eBay, the place where I buy things I later regret. I bought it for the absolutely bonkers price of... Checking price here. One moment, please. I don't want to misquote how much I paid for it. I paid the absolutely bonkers price of $32. $32 plus shipping. More of Wheel of Egrets. Yeah, maybe I should rename that. So, yes. So, why was it only $32 plus shipping? Well, first of all, there were no screws holding the lid on, so I got the lid safely to the side. So I do have the lid. It is the matching lid. It does say Kaypro 2 on the side with the number 2. So it is the matching lid. No, Jack, actually, um, thank you, Will. All right. Yes, thank you, Will, very much. Got another tip for Kaypro. So very appreciative there. Um, Actually, no, Jack. Normally I would think they would have charged $150 shipping, but actually it was only like 40 $49.99 shipping, and then a buck 70 in tax. So yeah. So the it came to like 83.69. So it was about 84 bucks, which actually was, for what it was, is like, okay, that's about what I want to pay. But anyways, yes. So the lid has no screws. Fortunately, everything in the computer is screwed in. More importantly, though, it has no keyboard. So, oh no, no keyboard. Yeah, no. That's probably why it only went for $32 plus shipping. So, anyways, so I guess let me flip it around so we can show it right side up. So, as I alluded to in the thumbnail, and from what I can tell inside, this is, at least the innards do match the part on the back. Now, we'll have to check serial number if there's a serial number on the board. And Jack says screws are another $32. Yeah, I know. Uh, Anyways, so this is a Kaypro new to, so part number 81-031. Apparently, this was sold by Kelly Data in Aloha, Oregon. And yeah, so we got our power switch. It is off. There's our reset button that you can't see because it's off screen right now. We've got our parallel port, our serial data IO, serial printer out. Keyboard's right over here. And then this model wasn't equipped with the modem, but it looks like they still put the modem jack in the case. So that would be the modem if this was being built for if it was being built as a Kaypro, I think, numeral 4 or a 4X or a 2. Actually, I think the 2X didn't have the modem as well. Anyway, yeah, Action Retro says Kaypro model numbering was totally rational and sensible. Yeah, I know. About as sensible as um um I don't know. I think I think Kaypro liked the number 2 and tried to use the number 2 in as many ways as they could to totally make consumers think every computer was just as awesome as the Apple II. But apparently they only tried to use the Roman numeral 2 once. Actually, the first Kaypro was the Kaypro Roman numeral 2 because they wanted to give it the same air of nobility as the Apple II. And Jack says Kaypro seems like a bit like a cult. Well, I will give Kaypro one thing. They at least didn't make the mistake Osborne did of like saying, hey, here's the Osborne 1. But wait, the Osborne 2 is coming soon. Yeah, Bill says, I had a Kaypro I picked up at the local machinist club picnic, got it working, and then sold it to some guy who drove here from like Ohio to pick it up. Yeah, there are people that enjoy their Kaypros. Gutbum says Kaypro is one of the few computers mentioned on The Simpsons, therefore I love the Kaypro. Neat. I appreciate the Kaypro for what it is. It was a decently built system. I guess reasonable, decently built system. It had some compelling features that set it apart from the competition, and it ran CPM. So, I mean, one thing right here, the 9-inch screen. I mean, I would totally much rather use this than what was on the Osborne. It also, the Kaypro was built in a sturdy metal case, which makes it all the better for actually being portable. I mean, sure, it's heavier, but I mean, these things were built to survive being carried around. And unlike today, when you get bundled software with your computer, I think Kaypro actually settled on a compelling software bundle that people would actually use because they knew what people wanted to buy their CPM machine for, and that was WordStar. Now, I mean, Kaypro started by bundling some other word processor, but at some point they switched to bundling WordStar because they knew what people wanted to buy their machine for. It's WordStar. So, Toiletius Toiletist. I also managed to clip my fingernails right before needing to press something, and yeah, I feel your pain. Uh, yes, and yeah, then I gotta find a pry tool. I wish I had AirTags on. Yeah, if it wasn't for the fact that AirTags are like $30 a piece, I would have AirTags on like practically everything, including the spudgers, because I misplaced them too. All right, so to get the motherboard out of here, which I want because I want to inspect power supply, we do have to remove a few screws from the back, which are fortunately here. So this screw is holding on a bracket. Oh, that screw is okay. That screwdriver is not quite the right size for that screw. Somewhere I had a hold, please. Ah, there it is. Yes, it seems as if I have amassed enough things. I'm going to have to very carefully go take trash to the trash can because I realized my new neighbors have 3 dogs. Hopefully, I'm pretty sure I can very quietly take the rest of the trash out without arousing the dogs. I think I know. It's like ah. Oh yeah. Oh yes. If you didn't notice, I've got my Quinn set that Retrotech or Die sent me, so I can. So this so Quinn did, so this isn't sponsored, but it's definitely a nice tool set. Although I think I have actually found something where I do need a bigger handle because I really need to get a grip on it. So let me see if I can find my. Actually, hold please. Let me see if I can just find my Phillips screwdriver. There we go. Yeah, Jesse says depends on the dog. Some bark at the wind. Well, we'll see. Oh, worst comes to worst, well, if I get the impression that if I think that there's a chance that they will be somewhere where they might hear me open the trash can and start barking, I will just plan on putting the trash out early enough. Unfortunately, I think it's supposed to be hot enough tomorrow that there is a very good chance that the trash company is going to run early. Potentially very early, because it got up to like 89 degrees Fahrenheit here today. Actually, this Kaypro, it actually is a bit dusty. I know it. It actually is in the realm of computers I have purchased. It is fairly clean. I have bought computers that were much, much, much dirtier than this. I mean, I have bought computers that are. Jesse says, just put out the trash and be done with it. Yeah, that's probably the best plan. Because, yeah, you're right, Jesse. Because if I do start trying to be stealthy with putting the trash out, then the dogs will start to bark. You're probably right. I should probably just go, do it, and be done. Either that or have it ready to set out very early tomorrow. One or the other. But yeah, this actually, in the grand scheme of things, for all the computers I have bought, this one is actually relatively clean. There is some dust on the motherboard. There's some dust on the case. It's kind of hard to see. It will probably be easier to describe it. I mean, there is some dust, but it is actually relatively clean. It's not my fault when the neighbor's dogs bark. That is true. I guess I'm trying to put my best foot forward. They only moved in like a week and a half ago. And they seem to be really cool people. I mean, after all, they've got 3 floof balls. I mean, right there. I think their dogs really are just three big. There we go. I got the motherboard out, so now I see. Ooh, I see enemy number 1. You can't see enemy number 1 because of these big heat sinks. Oh, I should probably give my standard warning now. Don't meddle around with CRTs and power supplies unless you know what you're doing. I know that this computer has not been powered up for at least a week and a half, probably 2 weeks, because I don't remember. I think the seller might have mentioned that they tried to power it up. I don't remember what they said, but anyways, I definitely know that it wouldn't have been powered up in transit because it would have had to have been shipped with a battery pack or something, and it was only the Kaypro in there. I haven't plugged it in. I know it's discharged, but and capacitors can't hold their charge that long. I would be at this moment. I'd be more concerned about accidentally necking the CRT than I would be getting zapped. Because yeah, it's not worth dying over, getting hurt over. If you don't know what you're doing, let someone that does know what they're doing. I've had high voltage training safety at work. I know the risks. I know this hasn't been plugged in. That's why I'm not discharging anything, because it's discharged. I'm still going to handle it with caution. And that's because there is not a lot of room between the power supply and the CRT. But still, if I had any inkling that this had been powered up in the past week or so, I would probably attempt to discharge the CRT first. And in fact, I technically probably should, but it's not been powered up in 2 weeks. Because I received this on Tuesday. It was shipped the week before. So, I mean, at least a week and a half. So, there we go. I've done my standard warning. So, what I'm going to do is I am going to very gently pop the analog board off, or the neck board off, just to give me a little bit more room. There we go. It'll also let me get a good look at that. Yep, had a little dust on it. Yep, that was my CRT PSA. Vborg, I have a Kaypro 2X. I forget where in the sensible order it fits. In the sensible order, it would be like the third model. Because in the sensible order, there would have been the Kaypro 1, and then the Kaypro 2, and okay, it's souped up Kaypro 2X. That would have been the sensible order. But there was no Kaypro 1. I mean, seriously, for what they got wrong or confusing in part numbers, I mean, I think they at least seem it to me it seems like they did listen to customers, and they gave people what they wanted, and it was a decently built, solidly constructed portable computer that came with a compelling software bundle that was actually the software people wanted to run. So in reality, the order was the Kaypro 2 and Roman numeral 2, the Kaypro Roman numeral 4, the Kaypro 10, the Kaypro 4, and that would be from this point they're all standard numbers. The Kaypro 2X. So that would have been like the second model of 1984. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So your Kaypro 2X was about the fifth system. And then there was the Kaypro Roby, the Kaypro New 2, the Kaypro 4 Plus 88, Kaypro 16. And then I think at this point we're getting away from. Oh, actually, the Kaypro 4 Plus 88 I think was the last CPM machine. Oh, I stand corrected. There was a Kaypro 1. I didn't get down far enough in the list. So yeah, so we had the Kaypro 4 Plus 88, which was like nearly the next to last CPM machine, I believe. Because then they had the Kaypro 16, which was an MS-DOS machine, the Kaypro 2000, which was a laptop that ran MS-DOS, the Kaypro PC, which ran MS-DOS, the Kaypro 286i, and then in 1986, they had the Kaypro 1, which was the last CPM model. So, yeah. Yeah, the Kaypro 2, yeah, it's like, no one wanted a version 1 product, so just skip it. Yeah, Jack, that's probably about the truth. They're like, and then I guess finally I guess maybe at the end they realized that, oh, wait a minute, we've pretty much used all the numbers that we can. So maybe they called it the Kaypro 1 because it was the ultimate Kaypro CPM machine. And I am using ultimate in the sense that it was the last one. Maybe not necessarily the greatest one, but the last one. So because you've got penultimate and then ultimate. So there you go. Maybe that's why they called it the Kaypro 1. It's like, well, this is the ultimate CPM machine we're making. Use all the old parts. I don't know if they used all the old parts. Actually, I think some of these screws were painted gray by Kaypro or someone, because they've got the same color paint on them as the back of the case. Oh, Tim, yeah, your spent time in Africa. I think I remember you telling me about that. The guy you got it from did humanitarian stuff. He told me how he used to write reports in villages running on a generator. Yeah. Jack says, was the Kaypro one the first model? No, it was the last model. Kaypro 1 was the Kaypro Roman numeral 2 was the first model. Although, if you want to get technical, there was a computer before the Kaypro. They did release a K-Comp 2, but I don't think many came out. So I don't really count the K-Comp as a Kaypro computer. It might, I think it ran CPM, but it wasn't it's like, oh, these are fun. Oh, now you can see the public enemy number 1 there. And 2, 3, and 4. They're all right together. How cute. And this is a different power supply than I worked on last. So, all right, I am trying to get the power unplugged. I am going to set this in a way so that I do not have to worry about the power supply falling onto the CRT when I unplug it. The connector should just pull straight out, but there's not a lot of slack in the cable. All right. Fortunately, the board is marked very well as to what the voltages are. So it will be, well, and because there's very little slack in that cable, it will be fairly easy to know which direction it goes back, just because there's so little slack. All right. So we are going to look at the power supply and inspect it, because I think from the auction description, so like a K non-pro. The K-Comp 2, the K-Comp, that's why I don't count the K-Comp 2 when I read the description on Wikipedia. The K-Comp 2 was a demonstrator model shown mainly to prospective dealers. It had the same case as future models, but was painted green with 2 single-sided floppy drives that were mounted vertically on opposite sides of the monitor like the Osborne 1. But it still had the 9-inch monitor. And it was apparently sold to the public in limited numbers. But I think that so it was kind of like I guess maybe it was like the preview model, and they did sell some. It's like the Kaypro was their actual, okay. Oh, that okay. That don't know why that just randomly now decided to show, but yes, thank you again, Dave. Apparently, I have to figure out where that alert is coming from so I can fix it, because that is the zombie is like, I think the default OBS. If your animation is screwed up, it uses the zombie probably to let you know that, hey, your animation settings are wrong. But yeah, we got a Rifa here. It actually, it looks like a yeah, it actually, I do like the power supply. So this isn't the same as the last one I worked on, but I think this is I think this one's a better design. It is possible I may actually have the parts to, I may have parts to replace some of these parts that we need to replace. So this is apparently the California DC supply. Model LR5301-15. I think the power supply that's in my Kaypro Roman numeral 2 is in, I want to say it was made by whoever made the TRS model like 4P power supply because the power supplies are like they have the same components, even though they're like some of the designations are different. They're like I think they're the same or practically the same power supply. Yeah, we're gonna take these reefas off here, or at least the X cap. Although, quite honestly, these Y caps are also looking rough. I actually may have caps to replace those Y caps because I ordered some Apple II cap kits from Console 5 and I ordered the. In case I take them off and don't immediately replace them, I ordered the optional safety caps just in case. And I want to say that 4700 picofarads and 2200 picofarad may actually be the same values that some of the Apple II supplies use. Oh, actually, I don't need to wonder because I have them right here. In fact, actually, I'll steal and point. Nope. The X cap's not the same value. I may still have an X cap I can steal from a kit somewhere. But yeah, I think I ordered some spare X caps from them. But then I also ordered the some of the recommended caps for Apple II supplies, and there we go. I got 0.22 microfarads, and there's the. Oh wait, that's the wrong value. Not 0.22. 4700 picofarad, and I may have those somewhere. We'll see. Oh, yeah, I went ahead and tossed it. I actually had the safety cap from that Apple IIe power supply still on the bench. Actually, I was in Lowe's today and I looked to see, I looked for the foil tape that I wanted to use to fix the hole. And then I realized how much a roll of foil tape costs and decided that I was going to see if I could find a smaller roll somewhere else. Because I need like a few inches. I think I might be able to find a smaller roll on Amazon. There we go. It's an ABC Reefa cap. Already been cracked. Ooh. I'm not sure if that one had blown yet, but that one was probably on pretty close to bad news Reefa town. Okay, the fuse is intact. Oh, cool. This power supply has a jumper for 110 and 220, and it is in the correct position. All right, I guess let me go ahead and pull these other three safety caps off. Oh, cool. They actually have dual lead space. Oh, actually, they all have multiple lead spacings. That will actually be very helpful. So we'll get those off and we'll inspect these. And I'll look. I may actually have some. Yeah, blown ones have black marks, so I don't think that one had blown yet. But it may have not been blown, but they were compromised and it'd be absorbing moisture. So, all right, I think these two are this one, Yep, that was one of them. This one. And this one. All right. Actually, I know these Y-class ones aren't generally the ones that like to... Okay, well, those two Y-class ones might actually be okay. Because I don't know that they're generally the ones that like to go surprise in the night. I think it's this one here. And this one here. There we go. Now, this one here is cracked. So, yeah, that one's definitely a good one to replace, because that one's kind of looking a bit rough. So we'll get a replacement in for that one. And I actually do have a 4700 picofarad. And I think it's even a similar voltage rating. I don't know if I can find the voltage rating on it. The replacement that I have is a 300 volt part. I think for a safety cap that is close enough. Oh yeah, that's actually looking... Actually, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if that one... I think that one might have actually popped. Or is that just the edge of the plastic? I think this one might have actually popped at some... Oh, maybe that is just the edge of the plastic. Anyways, yeah. This is 250 volt. The ones I have are 300 volt. So... Oh, yeah, my desoldering station. I named it Claris after the... You know, Claris, the cow dog. So yeah, my desoldering station is Claris. So, and in fact, I have a Claris sticker on top of it, so to remove any doubts, because it sounds like Claris. Well, it's not quite the same pin spacing, but here we go. Okay, so that is a X1 or Y2 rated cap. So that one can be used in place of this one. That is a Y class. So we'll just go ahead and replace that one since I had the part. I always order more from console 5. All right, there we go. Let me see if I can dig up some other caps. Now, I'm pretty sure this power supply will work without the X cap, but I think the way this power supply is designed, I think I do need the... actually, I think I may need the X cap for it to work, because I don't think there's continuity now that I'm looking at the board. Because here's where the X cap was, between here and here. Oh, no, wait. No. Actually, I think there is continuity. That's just simply connecting hot and neutral. Yeah, because this is ground. This is where the ground comes in. This is neutral. This is hot. This is the transformer. So yeah, that's just simply a connection between hot and neutral for the safety cap. Okay, so that one does not need to be in place for it to work. These two are the Y-class ones, which go between... They go between... Let me see. Yeah, I guess that's going to be hot and ground and neutral and ground. Okay, those definitely don't need to be in place. But this one here that I just replaced was actually making a ground connection. So I'm pretty sure that one did need to be replaced to work. So I think if there were no other problems with this board, I think I can attempt to power it up without those three caps in. But this one I believe was necessary to replace. Unfortunately, I had the proper replacement. Because yes, sometimes yeah, I think on some of those power books you do have to remove keys, but it's been so long, I'm not sure. All right, let me see. I've got a couple other kits here. I have a kit for the... This is the kit for the... Nope, that's an Apple II Aztec. So yeah, that is a... Okay, yeah, that's the wrong value. I think I have a kit for the Dynacomp supply here as well. Oh, but it doesn't come with X caps because those don't always come with refos. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. I think I do have... I think I've got the proper X cap here. 0.22 microfarad. Here we go. It's a Kemet brand. Yeah, okay. So I think I can replace the X cap. Maybe. The pin spacing's not quite ideal. Well, okay. I'll keep that in mind. I'll let's take a look at this power supply and some of the other things on it, because then I will go see if I can't find some of the parts I ordered last Kaypro or last May Pro and didn't use. Because this power supply might use some of the same parts, and I do know I have some safety caps that I never used. All right, so the fuse is intact. I think this is the diode bridge. Yeah, I'll probably check it. So here's the main high voltage caps, which for some reason has something sticky on the side there. I might remove those caps to inspect under them. That's kind of a bit weird. In case that's actually something that's leaked out of it. They are, I mean, because they're going to be like 30-year-old caps. All right, so we got, this is just a physical inspection. We got a couple transistors here, which look okay. There's some diodes, which all look okay. I'm kind of trying to look for specific components that can cause trouble. I think this is one of the rectifying diodes here. And that's going to be another of the rectifying diodes here. And I think that's another. Is that a rectifying diode or is that a SCR? That might actually be an SCR there. So that will actually probably be testing, because I think that's the SCR. Let's see, I think this is going to be a. That's going to be a transistor there. All right. I don't see anything that appears to be physically damaged. The bottom of these two capacitors kind of looks weird, so I may remove them to inspect them. 10-volt, 200, 2200 microfarad. I may also have caps to just simply replace them. All right. I may actually have caps to replace some of these if needed. Oh, hey, Jeremy. Welcome. All right, so I don't see any physical damage on any of the other components on the board. But I do see a couple things with capacitors. I mean, physical damage is in, like, I don't see a blown component. But this capacitor's got something weird sticky on the side of it. So I want to look under these two. And then these two capacitors look funny on the bottom. So I want to look under these two. Am I crackling now? I got an indication that might be crackly. So let me. Okay, I'm hoping that fixed it. Oh yeah, it's probably lagging. Looks like I started getting a warning about keyframes. Okay, did I fix it? Because I deactivated the camera in an attempt to fix it. Better crackling sound than muted, yeah. Alright, let's see if Claris can help us here. Oh, actually, Claris cannot help us here. We are going to have to use braid. How quaint. I mean, at least I'll give Weller this. The might be the cheap Lowe's version of a soldering iron, but I mean, it does seem to have pretty decent heat recovery. Oh yeah, also happened to notice, I think yesterday I got an email from Hacko. They have a new version of the station I was using. It fixes one of my gripes about it. They finally made it so that you can't just simply accidentally enable a temperature calibration, which I did so many times because it had two buttons and I would always use the wrong one to change the temperature, which if you're then not careful, you set a calibration offset. Yeah, at least it's only a single layer PCB, that's for sure. Okay. Okay, they don't smell like fish. It's definitely a very interesting thing to find on the board. I am not totally convinced that those maybe hadn't started to leak. All right, we'll put those on a tester. Good night, Frank. Thanks for joining us. All right. So is this okay? That does not come up with a dry Q-tip, so probably not electrolyte. And it's not really coming up with a isopropyl alcohol, which probably means I'm getting something off the board there, but I have a feeling it's just the dust that got in under the capacitor. I think that's just I think that's just where the fiberglass was running warm. Yeah, I think they were heated a bit. All right, let's run these on a tester because they kind of look a little bit weird, but all right. The tester's telling me that I was open circuit because, surprise, surprise, I hadn't connected a capacitor yet. It gives you so long to detect a capacitor, and then it'll tell you it's open circuit. Okay, 213.8 microfarad. It is within spec. Because I think it's 220. 214.4. Okay, those are within spec. I will set them to the side. This is kind of one of my all or nothing approaches to recapping. If there's nothing wrong with these other two caps, then I'll put them back on. Oh, what I may be seeing is just the rubber seal on the bottom. Maybe these caps are just the seal sticks out a little bit, but I want to make sure it's not a sign of the capacitors bulging. So I'm going to pick these two caps for inspection. And I think the leads I want are these two and yeah, those two. And I believe it looks like they bent the pins when they manufactured it. Shame, shame. there's when I put these back in, if I put these back in, I will not bend the pins. Oh, yeah, that totally looks fine. I'll test it, but there's no signs of that one leaking. I'll solder them in like a normal person. I'm sure they bent the pins to hold them in during wave soldering. Yeah, that one looks fine too. All right. If these test okay, then I'll probably say that. Oh, all right. Well, good night, Chris. Okay. So these will be my two like spot check caps. So the fact that I saw something that was sticking out on the bottom is just the seal sticks out on the bottom. 2198 microfarad. Oh yeah, that's totally within spec. And that's totally within spec. Yeah, those are like those are totally fine. I mean, granted, if I replace the caps, I'll use 105 degrees C for longer life. Not to say that I might not. If I got to do more work on the supply and that requires ordering parts, that's not to say that I won't just go ahead and order some caps as well. But I think I'll go ahead and put these back in and all right. So I will bend one of the pins to help hold it in place. There we go. That way, if I have to do anything to these in the future, it's easier to get them out. All right. All right. And I guess I'll go ahead and put these two caps back in. I don't know that I may not be putting them in where they came out. Oh, I am. There's that sticky stuff on the side. I think it's probably just old adhesive from. Given that the capacitors look fine, it's probably old adhesive from some label that probably fell off and I might find in the bottom of it. Or I might not, because it might have fallen out while the seller had it open for pictures. Now, these caps are in opposite of each other, because there's the polarity mark for this one, and then the polarity mark for the other ones here. They are in opposite. Before anyone says, wait, you got one backwards, yeah, they were like that. They're the way the board's laid out. Now, if I have to replace those caps, I will probably replace them with like something closer to 400 volts. Since this is a dual voltage board, just to give it larger headroom should I ever like give this away or sell it or something and someone wants to use it in a 240 volt country. All they'd have to do is change the jumper and wouldn't have to worry about like shorter lifetime from a 200 volt cap. All right. Let's check this power supply. All right, so I'm just gonna check for shorts. So these are the hot and neutral. That's hot and ground. I think that's neutral and ground. Okay. There shouldn't be a short between any of these. That would mean something's really bad wrong. Now, ground might actually be connected to the returns, but it's not. Okay, so this is not a floating power supply design. All right, so this is negative 12 volts. Okay. I'm looking for signs of a short. Okay, that's plus 12 volts. Okay, that's fine. All right, those two are returns. That's fine. That's a return. Okay, that's just a capacitor charging. All right, so those are both 5 volts. And the 5 volts are connected together. Okay, I don't see any signs of shorts. Thomas Armstrong says reflow the pins on the connector. Kind of looks like someone's beat me to it, but I'm going to do it again. That looks pretty rough. I don't think I need any extra solder because there's a lot of solder here. So I'm just going to try reflowing them. Actually, that one there. All right. Of course, did I do... I'm not sure I did that well on that one pin there. That's not what I intended to do. There we go. All right, let me clean that up so I can actually inspect it. Oh, good that you're getting some of your pipes fixed, Jeremy. All right, well, I think that looks pretty good. I think that is good enough to test. Yeah, I have to agree with you, Jeremy. Depending on where the repairs were, I would definitely rather use something I could just crimp versus something I had to actually use a torch. Although, I guess in this house, there's no. Well, I shouldn't say that there's no copper pipe because I think the fitting coming out of the water heater is usually a copper fitting, probably for grounding purposes. But yeah, there's very little copper pipe here. All right, I think the power supply looks safe to power up. I mean, there's no shorts on it. I reflowed the connector. I removed the reefas that especially this one that looked like it was cracked. Let me let me go look in my box and see if I by chance have either of those two values. I have a couple stashed away over here, so just give me a moment. I don't have caps for those, so we'll just ignore that for now. Yeah, I think my house is pretty much all PEX. Because that's the new stuff, right? Oh, wait. No, it's not all PEX. Maybe it is. I don't know. It's new enough. It's probably the latest fad in crimpable pipes. All right, so I'm looking at the analog board here. It looks okay. I don't see any damaged caps. I'm going to check the fuse though. Can't tell if it's good or not. It's good. All right. Oh, I know another thing I should do. I should check the power cable here. So let's see here. So between all right, so there's common. So there's a white. I think white is 5 volts. All right, there's no continuity. I think red is 12 volts, and that is because all right. And then this one here is 12 volts going to something else. Okay. That looks fine. Because I was mainly for the benefit of the floppy drives. These are. I know on my other Kaypro, one of the floppy drives actually had a shorted tantalum on it. But these are Shugart SA455 2AA drives. I think these may actually be double sided drives. Okay. Well, let me go ahead and put the power supply back in. Because the way it is, it'll be better if I think it will be easier to go ahead and just screw it back in and then attach the power cable. They are now on standoff, so I did back it. I backed the screw until I heard it click, meaning it fell into the existing threads, and then screw it in. Right, I'll do the same for the other 3. I don't need to cut new threads. I want to use the existing ones, because that otherwise it'll be weaker. 3-inch main. Wow, that's Oh, that 3-inch was a dormitory at the University of Texas. Wow. Challenge with large copper pipe is keeping the heat in to seal the joints. Yeah. There we go. Got the power supply screwed back in. Oh, actually, there's a label. There's a label floating around. Oh, that's not a label. I'm not sure what it is, though. Actually, kind of weird what I just found in here. Looks like the top of a cleaning wrapper. Maybe the seller was trying to clean it and make it look nicer. All right. I'll plug the analog board back in. Right, analog board's back in. The logic board, or the motherboard. This is not a Macintosh, therefore it is a motherboard. Because, of course, Apple and IBM would have to be different. Because PC manufacturers, it's a motherboard. Unless you're IBM, then it's a planar. And you're Apple, and then it's a logic board. Because I guess Apple couldn't call theirs a planar too. That would plainly be copying IBM. Actually, I think there might be a couple other PC companies that may actually call theirs planars as well. Actually, that is weird. I'm trying to reverse twist these screws so I didn't cut new threads. I just thought I would screw this in just to. Okay, there we go. I'm not going to screw the back ports in. I just at least wanted to. There we go. Make sure all that was in. All right. And now I will plug in the power. The power. Okay, I will not plug in that power cord. Instead, I'm going to toss it to the side because that power cord is not plugged into anything. I don't need to be troubleshooting a power issue caused by picking the bogus cord that I left for myself on the bench. All right. So, what am I going to do? I'm first going to bring up Droid Cam so that if I see anything on the front, then I can do a screen share real quick and show you. All right. All right. So there we go. So I've got that ready. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is to just turn it on without it turned on. All right. And it did nothing. Okay. So I'm going to turn the switch on in the back here. All right. We will be live. Smoke test in 3, 2, 1. Oh, wait a minute. We got noises. All right. Oh. All right. We definitely have a buzzing noise. Okay, there was a buzzing noise, and I don't know where it was coming from, but I have to imagine now that the CRT circuit had a charge. I did not see anything on the video. All right, so I'm going to turn this light off here so that maybe there'll be a little more contrast. All right, 3, 2, 1. That noise definitely sounds like it's coming from the video circuit. Maybe. Yeah, I didn't see the power light. You're right. I didn't see the power light power up either. But there definitely was a buzzing noise. Oh, wait a minute. Is that what I think it is right there? I better check that. Did I? Oh, did I check output voltages? No, I did not. I did not check output voltages. I'm also going to check this. All right. Okay, that was just the probes touching. Let me see here. Put that where I can maybe read it. Okay, that's 129 ohms. Okay, that's probably fine. All right, and then that big. I did not see the heater glowing, Jeremy, but the heater is far enough. Oh, I may have to turn more lights off to see if I see a faint filament glow. All right. I don't know what kind of cap that is. Certainly looks like a ginormous tantalum. Reading 130 ohms. Yes, intermittent buzzing is not good. All right. To help with the voltage checking, all right, so it is on. Actually, I think that buzzing noise was one of the floppy drives. All right, I just unplugged both floppy drives. Let's try that again. Nope. That was not the floppy drives. All right, well. Okay, let me check voltages real quick. That's nothing. 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 All right. Problem's the. I don't think the power supply is outputting any voltage. All right. Yes. If the power supply is not outputting voltage, that probably means that there's a bad component on it. Although, even though I checked the motherboard for shorts, let me try one thing. All right, let me plug the two floppy drives back into power. And I will turn this on very briefly. I just want to see if I hear the buzzing noise without the motherboard attached. This will be the briefest because there's not much of a load. Although, you know what I could do? Probably what I should do. Because there is an extra Molex connector down in here. I will at least give the power splat a little bit more of a load. There we go. The main fuse good. I think it is. Although I can check that fairly easily. Well, let me see if the buzzing went away. The thing is, I think we're getting mains voltage because otherwise I don't think it could make the buzzing noise. Unless the buzzing is coming from the mains inlet connector, which would be really weird. All right, is the fuse good? I guess the good thing would be I do have some extra fuses. Yeah, the fuse looks okay. I mean, as small of a fuse as it is, if the fuse was blown, I shouldn't have been able to see the little strand in it. Okay, so let's see what happens if I briefly... Is the equipment under test on the same circuit as your streaming setup? Yes, it is. But I have an uninterruptible power supply on the computer. All right, 3, 2, 1. It is still buzzing. All right, I think that is probably a sign that the power supply is going into some protection mode. Did I put the caps back on with the correct clarity? Yes, I did. That was confirmed with what the polarity markings say. Let me go look at the eBay auction description before we assume that I might have done something. Remember, I made some effort to remember what the seller said. I got the impression they did test it. Okay, vintage Kaypro 2 portable computer case only. Actually, we'll just do this right here. There you go. Vintage Kaypro 2 portable computer case only. Powers on. Make noise, but no lights come on, no boot or display either. So sold for parts repair only. Case has motherboard and drive still inside, no screws, very good overall cosmetic condition, no keyboard, sold as pictured and as is. Makes noise. So actually, I believe that Thomas says most likely the oscillator is not running. I presume you mean the oscillator on the power supply, because the power supply is quite obviously making the noise. That is like about the only thing that could be making the noise, because I don't think the video circuit is getting power. Jack says, "What does the seller believe powers on means if no lights come on?" Yeah, that's probably on me for not catching that. Um, I mean, hey, what can I expect for $32? All right. For anyone wondering, okay, the power LED, the LED is controlled by the motherboard somehow, I believe. Ah, yes, there's probably a current limiting resistor on the motherboard. Yeah. Will says makes noise so it comes on. Yes, that's I think that is their justification. It made a noise. What more could you want? For my next trick, we'll buy the item that um item produced comes on, and in parentheses it made smoke, but no lights come on. So yeah, it made smoke, so it must power on. Uh, Actually, I would like to think the seller knows a little more than that, but then again, it's quite possible the seller is simply unloading the contents of a storage locker that had a bunch of Kaypro and Osborne and Eagle stuff in it with some other tech goodies for bonuses. But yeah, I totally did not comprehend the full reality of the statement. Makes noise, but no lights, so I'm going to do myself a favor, and I'm going to check to make sure the capacitors, the big two capacitors, discharged. Okay, that one discharged. And yep, that one discharged. All right. Yeah, in reality, the fact that it made noise but no light came on really meant that it did not power on. I guess, though, there is at least one good thing. I I think when I bought it, I did see. Well, I may have been silly and not realizing the paradox in the statement makes noise but no lights. Powers on, makes noise but no lights. I may have ignored that paradox, but I did at least, I think, recognize in the back of my mind that it sounded like it was a power supply issue. I have another boat anchor. Ah! Dave says a person that works for eBay came in our office. He's worked for them for over 20 years. I told him you have lots of regrets on your eBay purchases. Well, that's partly because I pay bottom dollar for stuff and get what I pay for. I'll let the viewer decide if I do that on purpose or not. All right, I'm just gonna check these diodes and I'm gonna see if I find any that are like misbehaving. Some of these are parallel with stuff. Oh, I'm totally going to have to remove some of these from circuit test. All right. If I had to pick a place to start on this power supply, it would be the I would maybe start with the SCR if I can find it. LM340T 7812. LM340T. All right. I'm not going to get. Okay, that is a. It is a voltage regulator. I believe the 7812 was actually the date code on it. I think the part number is actually LM340T. Although that would be weird that the part was made 6 years before this power supply, but oh, that's an LM340T-12. Okay, that is the 12. That is the 12-volt regulator. Okay. Thomas says the LM340 is a common op amp. But according to this data sheet from TI, it's a voltage regulator. I don't think this one's an op amp. I think it's a voltage regulator. Because it also says 7812, and I now think that's not the date code. Because it says 309 at the top. I believe that's the date code. I think it's the 7812. Okay, so that's not the SCR. Ah, there's the SCR. Found it. Because if the SCR failed, then that would cause the noise like I'm hearing. Well, it's a very confusingly part numbered part because it appears to have both part numbers. And yeah, I mean, yes, I thought LM series usually is op amps, but I found a data sheet that said it's a voltage regulator. I think LM340 series is a voltage regulator series. The T, I think has slightly different characteristics than the 7812, 7805, 78 whatever series. Yeah, it was quite clearly marked 7812. I think it's the plus 12 volt regulator, which does beg the question of where the negative 12 volt regulator is, because this board does have negative 12 volts. However, I don't think it supplies much, because I suspect that's just the negative voltage used for the serial port. So one of these transistor like things is probably the negative 12 volt. Oh yeah, I think that here's the negative 12 volt one right here, because it's marked VR1. I'm gonna pull the SCR out and attempt to test it. Now the reason I say attempt to test it is because SCRs are kind of tricky to test. I definitely need to have it out of circuit. All right. There we go. There's our SCR. Wow, that label is really hard to read. I can't read the label. All right, let's see. So the SCR should be a part of the crowbar circuit. And what's the crowbar circuit, you ask? The crowbar circuit is the circuit responsible for over voltage protection. Basically, this SCR, if the there's also going to be a diode that works with this component, and I think that did not actually that really did not help. Huh? I thought that might help me read the markings. Uh, QA274. What's 14th week of 1982? I may have to rewind my own live stream to see what that said before I used isopropyl, because isopropyl alcohol made it worse, not better. Oh, maybe not. Maybe it just was. The date code of what, Jeremy? This part? Because I'm really hoping someone might have caught the part number or might have been able to read more than I could, because I can't tell what the part number is. Even look up a data sheet to see which pin is which. I may have to rewind my own live stream. Okay, so SCRs are of this part. Okay, well, did you happen to catch the part number? Because that's what I really need. Thanks, Jack. It's going to be hard to read. I admit that. C122P. That could be it. Or maybe C122F. Or maybe B. I bet it was B. HB8214. Yeah, I think that was the date code. Let me see if this data sheet. No, I don't. This is okay. So I've got a thing. That tells me how to test these. I think I'm looking at the data sheet. It may be an RCA part. All right, so the pins should be cathode, anode, gate from left to right, which does make sense because it looks like, in fact, I think it was even marked K A G. Yeah, because I can read that part of it, cathode, anode, gate. Oh, it did say RCA on it. Yeah, I think it was an F because I think because there is no P. F, I think, would be the correct voltage rating. Okay, cathode, anode, gate. All right. Basically, to test an SCR, according to this thing I found on the internet, which is actually, I think, the same page I used for the SCR in the other Kaypro. I think this is the exact same page. All right. All right. Check the diode action between the gate and the cathode. All right. All right. So I got 0.138 volt drop there. 0.138 volt drop there. I think this SCR might be bad because I'm according to this. Yeah, it's conducting in both directions. Okay, let's check the other one. So now I would put it in a resistance setting. And if I put the positive on the anode and the negative on the cathode, I should see an open circuit. Which I do. And if I reverse them, I should still see an open circuit. Which I do. So now it's telling me to connect the anode and gate to the positive terminal. So I'll just kind of stick it between the two. And the negative here. And I should see a low resistance. Well, I guess 88 ohms is low resistance, although that's quite honestly. Yeah. How does one test it? Well, very carefully, but I kind of think this might actually not be working because it failed the diode test. Yeah, I think internally there's a diode between the cathode and the gate. I don't know what's in an SCR, but basically what an SCR does is it's like it has a latching capability. So I think okay, let me look at the data sheet. Because if when I look at the data sheet, I can maybe somewhat explain these. I know they use SCRs in solid state relays that switch AC voltages because of their latching. So they'll actually latch. So they use these for like zero crossing solid state relays. So that so that when you turn it off, I guess turn the control signal off, it'll let your output stay on until it hits the zero crossing point, and then it'll actually turn off, which for controlling certain equipment, that's what you want. You want it to actually turn off at the 0 volt crossing point. And I believe they use SCRs for those type of solid state relays. So I think basically what the crowbar circuit's doing is there's going to be I think a Schottky diode. No, not Schottky. There's going to be a Zener diode. Probably a Zener diode of somewhere probably right above 5.5 volts. So that if that Zener diode starts conducting, which it would do if the voltage was above the threshold voltage of like 5.75 volts, then that will trigger the SCR to close and will conduct and it'll conduct. And the SCR is connected to ground because that's actually how it shuts the power supply down in an overvoltage condition. Is the crowbar circuit shorts one of the voltage rails to ground, which causes the regulator circuit to shut down because it's short circuit protection. As a Zener diode. Yeah, reverse blocking is a specific mode of operation. Yeah. I think this might be a bad part. Now, that does not mean that all is lost because I generally buy spares of certain components. And I seemingly remember possibly ordering more than one Schottky diode, so in fact, actually, let me go to NTE's website. Because actually, I think I know where the spare might be. All right, so part number search C122F. Replace with part. Oh, is this going to be a C122F or an 2SC122F? Cathode anode gate. All right, I think it is a C122F. Okay, so I am looking for an NTE 5461. All right, hold please. I think I know where my NTE parts I ordered are, and I think I did order one of those. Actually, I should probably grab both of these boxes because I think this is where some of the spare Kaypro parts ended up. All right. See, this is why I thought I might be able to. Well, C122 NTE makes replacement parts or sells replacement parts. Um, so basically, they sell replacement parts for discontinued parts. Although they also sell replacement parts that are maybe not necessarily discontinued. So, anyways, they have a compatible part for a C122F. Although I think you can still get that. It looks like you can still get that from places, but they have a compatible part. But the cool thing is, there's other SCRs that might have actually been discontinued that also that were just basically well, could also use the same SCR. Okay. Yeah, I think this is probably the Zener diode for that crowbar circuit. This is the one that was in the crowbar circuit for the other power supply, 5.6 volt. So I'm going to hold on to this because I'll set that to the side. I may actually need that Zener diode. Now, the only reason I know what the other one used is because I found a power supply schematic for a very similar one. Here we go. Yeah, NTE 5417. Is that what I said? No. Bummer. I think the other one. That other power supply used a different SCR. Oh, I do have some dual Schottky diodes. Yeah, I think that is the case, Jack. It has a higher max voltage, which I believe is fine on an SCR. that if the max voltage is higher, that would just mean it. I think that would just mean it would be able to switch a higher voltage. I think for SCRs that is an okay substitution as long as like I think the important thing is the trigger voltage. I may have some other SCRs. Let me look. Because I seemingly remember ordering some from Mauser. And that might be because the ones I ordered from NTE were actually the wrong ones. Like, I have, one of these days I kind of hope I will find some of the parts I have misplaced. Oh, nope, those are not the transistors I was looking for Tuesday. All right. All right, well, I may not have an SCR after all. I may have to order one. Or I'll look up this other one because it's possible it's close enough. It might be close enough. Let's see here. That's an NPN transistor. Diodes. Oh. Oh, I think these are parts that came out of the Kaypro power supply. I think those are the diodes I replaced for good measure since I was in the power supply. Yeah, that's a bridge rectifier. It's a bridge rectifier. All right. If I ever say that I need to order diodes, someone please remind me that I should double check my box to see if there's diodes that I need in it because I have an awful lot of kinds of diodes in here. And that's not to say that I won't be needing something that's not in here, but also it does appear as if I have enough caps to redo a TDK power supply or two from an LC. Those are Schottky diodes. Oh. Well, there's some 4164s floating down there. All right, I'll look up this SCR I have. It does appear as if it would appear as if I don't have the SCR I thought I did. However, all right, NTE 5417. Let me look it up and compare. Oh. Sometimes the difference is like, oh, actually, it might be fun. Oh, cathode, anode. Oh, here we go. 5417 through 5419. Okay, let me compare the two data sheets. Jesse's asking if I'm opening up a Mauser warehouse. No, not that I'm aware of. All right, let's see here. All right, so 54. So 5461 is the one that NTE says I need. And I have a 5417. So the repetitive peak reverse voltage on the one I have is 200 volts. And the one NTE says I needs 50 volts. So I think that's fine. Repetitive peak off state voltage is also 200 volts. Okay, that's probably fine. All right. Peak RMS on state current. Peak surge. Okay, peak. Here's the one I'm looking. I'm looking for. Okay, maximum peak. Instantaneous on state voltage is trigger voltage 1.5 volts. Trigger current 15 milliamps. Okay. I think if I sussed out the datasheet right, this SCR here is rated for a higher voltage, and it has a lower, it does have a lower amount of current for its on state. So it's possible it might it might turn on sooner. But I'm pretty sure if the circuit works the way it should, that there's not going to be any current going to it unless it's above 5.6 volts. The one other thing about this SCR is the tab is isolated. I think that's the main difference. But since it wasn't since the tab's not connected to anything, I think that's fine. The pinout's the same. So that I am going to check the diode. All right. So if this doesn't work with this SCR, then I'll order the proper one with because I'll have to order some stuff. So I'll order a proper SCR, something equivalent to the one that was in here. Because actually, I can probably just order a. Looks like I could probably order the same part still. So that's what I'll do. I'll order the same part. Oh, I guess Jesse, the part you probably missed was I tried powering it up and it just was repeatedly clicking. And I think I narrowed down that the clicking noise was coming from the power supply. There were no voltages coming out, which since I hadn't seen since I hadn't found anything shorted, it led me to believe that this power supply might have had a similar fault as to the one in my other Kaypro, which was the SCR was bad. And at least from my quick test that I found online, it was failing part of the SCR test. So I put one in that, while it's not an exact replacement, I think it's equivalent enough that it should at least work. But if it doesn't work, it's not going to hurt anything. The one thing I do want to check, though, is the Zener diode, which I think to check it, I may have to pull it out of circuit. I'm not sure I can really test this with the... Oh yeah, that would help if I put it on diode test. I think that... Alright, if that's the diode that I think it is... Yeah, because that's connected to the anode of the SCR. Because gate is going to... Oh, alright. Well, there's a pad I'm going to have to talk. Let me remove this diode. I'm going to remove it and test it out of circuit. Something seems weird. It might just be because there's a component in parallel with it. I also, if I remove it, I might be able to read its part number. Confirm that it is a Zener diode. Because it kind of just looks like a regular diode. Alright. Looking for... There we go. Alright. Now that it's out of circuit, it is a... Certainly looks like a regular diode. Yeah, someday when these parts are unobtainium, yeah, we'll be checking with each other. Okay, so this is a. All right, leave that there. This is a 1 in 4 0 0 2. 33 2 4. 1 in 4002. Well, that's not a Zener diode. That's definitely not a Zener diode. That's just a regular diode. Okay. Zener diode's not the only way you can implement a crowbar circuit, but it's probably the most straightforward. Yeah, it's a common part. The Zener might be somewhere else. Okay, so that's in the mega. Oh, hold on. Let's go to diode mode. Okay, 0.57 volts that way, and the. Yep. Okay, that diode's fine. Well, I was pulling that diode because I thought it was something else. Turns out that's just a diode. Also possible they maybe are maybe used a voltage divider or something for the crowbar circuit. I don't know. I was expecting to find a Zener diode. This crowbar circuit wasn't implemented the way I thought it would. Well, of course, it might not be the crowbar circuit. I do not know why the diode will not go back in the hole that it obviously came out of. Yep, when you start to do damage, that is a good place to stop. I would agree. I'm gonna set that to the side for the moment. Bunch of other diodes over here. I kind of wish there was an easy way to power this up. Only I had some connectors that had those pins, so I could make like a AC cable, so I didn't have to like plug everything in. Maybe I could look on the Kaypro. Maybe if I look carefully, I can find the power lead to the analog board. It's kind of nice to be able to test this without analog board. I am having trouble getting that component back in the board. There it is. All right. All right. Get that bent part of the lead off there for partially desoldered it. Cleaning up the original. There we go. Now, oh, sorry. I didn't realize I was slightly off screen. All right. Not that diode. Transistor, and then that's going to be the probably the 7912. Oh no, that's a TL431C. Okay, that's a voltage reference. Hmm. Looking to see. That's. I think that's big transistor. That's Okay, that's a rectifying diode. That's 12-volt power supply or 12-volt regulator. I think this is another rectifying diode. Wasn't quite sure. Hmm. Let's go back to the microscope. Let's see if I can tell what types of diodes these are. Resistor, resistor, resistor. That's an IN 4448. IN 4448. Okay, that's that one. IN 4448. Okay. I think those are all 4448. Okay, that's not the type I'm looking for. Another IN 4448. That one's going to be a an IN 4930. 1N 4934. Those are just standard diodes. MBR 2045 CP. Okay, I can test that. All right, let's check that. All right, so this. All right, I may have trouble testing this in circuit, but I believe it's got a common cathode. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to take that out of circuit to test it. All right. I think for preheating ultrasonic cleaners, Steve recommended. I haven't got one yet, but it's um, basically like a little drop-in heater for water. Because ultrasonic cleaners generally don't have like super powerful heaters. So you can get it's like a little heater that floats on the top of the water. So you don't want to like run it. You don't want to let it run dry, but I can. I don't know if I still have it on my wish list or not. Probably do. Well, if it didn't go out of stock, I might still have it on my wish list. But That's one way if you've got an ultrasonic cleaner and it's not heating fast enough, you can get one of those. And obviously, if you use it in your ultrasonic cleaner, you probably don't want to use it in anything else afterwards. But it is at least like a little supplemental heater you can drop in it to preheat it, and then you pull it out when you need to use it. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Problem is if it was discontinued, because sometimes things like that get discontinued, I'll have to find another one to recommend. If I can find the one Steve told me about, then I think it's the one he uses. So I could give it to you as a, well, this part was recommended to me by Steve. So let me see. It's not there. Let me see if I can find one like it here real quick. All right, I see. I think they might call it a drop-in water heater, but this was specifically one where the top of it's designed to float on the top of the water, and it was like rated at like 800 watts or something like that. So it wasn't like super powerful, but also for a small ultrasonic cleaner, though, it's more wattage than the built-in heater. Plus, I guess the idea is you could run both as long as you have them on circuits that can handle the power. All right, I can't find a part right offhand. Yeah, it's got like a visible coil on the bottom, and it like floats on the top. Yeah, not it's not an aquarium heater, but it's like a I think they call it like a drop-in water heater, or it's like I think designed to like heat a bucket of water or something like that. But yeah, you could do something like that, and then at least that'll supplement your ultrasonic cleaner's heat capability. Because if you got an ultrasonic cleaner and it works great to clean, it just doesn't heat that well, then maybe get one of those and then put your money towards a bigger ultrasonic cleaner, like a really nice big one. Yeah. Jack says I've used a sous vide to heat up my retro brighting water. I mean, you could probably use a sous vide. I don't know how hot those generally get, but that would also. Then again, though, depending, you don't need to necessarily get your water super hot for ultrasonic cleaning either. So, yeah, if you wanted to get a sous vide for just for electronics repair, that would certainly work. Because I definitely could. I wouldn't mind sharing something like that between retro brighting and ultrasonic cleaning. I would mind though also sharing it with dinner. Yeah. Yes. Jack says, obviously, I don't use said sous vide for cooking. Yes. I thought I would clarify, but yes, that would also work. And I guess it would have the added benefit of keeping the water at temperature instead of like the drop in water heater is just basically going to dump heat into your water, like 150 degrees Fahrenheit. Actually, 150 degrees Fahrenheit would be a decent temperature for ultrasonic cleaning, because that's like somewhere around 50 degrees Celsius, 50 to 60. So actually, that could actually be a good for ultrasonic cleaning. I'd probably get it warm enough, and it would kick off or kind of regulate the heat instead of just making the water like hotter and hotter if you had to, like, if you stepped away too long. I think I would trust running a sous vide if I had to walk away more than I would trust one of those drop-in water heaters if I had to walk away. So yeah, if you're prone to like having to step away, then maybe a sous vide dedicated for ultrasonic cleaner might be a better choice because it'd be a little more comfortable with if I stepped away and it was on, I'd be a little more trusting of it than because a lot of times they're UL listed and whatnot. You got to boil the board till it gets soft. Well, that'll remove all the gunk. Actually, if you boil the board till it gets soft, it will remove all of the gunk, including the solder mask and the traces and the components. I mean, you won't have any trouble with the component parts after that. That's how you get the Scholastic gunk off the caps on your analog board. Well, yeah, sometimes it does feel like you just gotta like start by removing everything else and then you can get the Scholastic off. Yeah, that's for sure. All right, so what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to remove this rectifying diode, which is attached to a heat sink, and it's not screwed into the heat sink, but got like a, it's riveted to the heat sink. So I thought that if I could remove the heat sink and diode, then I could test it and just simply put it back. Oh, I just realized how late it is. I didn't realize. Wow, time flies when you're having fun and trying to remove stubborn heat sinks from the board. All right, well, I guess what I'll do, considering how late it is, that I just realized it's like after midnight. I do have to work tomorrow. All right, so I will test this rectifying diode, which I just thought it made a logical next thing to test. And then I guess I'll put the power supply back in and maybe we'll give it a power up with the thing. So okay, well that's good. Did not have, okay, it doesn't conduct that way. And okay. Oh, I found our shorted part. Hell! And on this disappointing bombshell of a discovery that this rectifying diode is actually conducting in both directions. So actually, the SCR might actually be okay. It might have actually been doing its job. Uh, yeah, that's where I'm going to stop because I'd have to dig out a I'd have to dig out a rectifying diode. So Yeah, I guess next time I work on the Kaypro, well, all right, if I order parts soon, I will order a replacement for this and the other rectifying diode. But yeah, that well, and I'll make sure I get the screw and nut that hold it to the heatsink because I'll have to remove that rivet forcefully. Yeah, power supplies are fun. And here I was thinking it was the SCR, and something told me to, check your diodes because maybe maybe there's something wrong with the power supply, i.e., probably a diode that caused the SCR to fail. Possibly because, as with my theory on the last Kpro, I got the distinct impression that maybe if the power supply were to fail whilst maybe you were left your computer on over the weekend and you have a crummy camera that can't focus on your face. There we go. Left the computer on the weekend and maybe the diode failed over the weekend and the SCR gives out and then your computer just make click 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 noise. Jeremy's saying and a ton of sockets for computer. Actually, I don't know that I need to order a ton of sockets for computer. I may have sockets to use on computer. I just have to see what I have. Because computer uses an awful lot of the same size socket, and I may have them. Because at one point, I ordered like 120 16 or 18 pin sockets. So I may actually be good. But I'll double check. So, yes, if I get a chance to order parts, I will order, make sure I have rectifying diodes for this Kpro power supply. I will um I'll order the X and Y class caps that are the proper size. And I don't know. I may order caps to recap the board just because I'm a nice guy. These are like 85 degrees C rated caps. They are 30, 40 years old. So I may order caps to just go ahead and recap it because it is kind of a pain to get to work on these power supplies. But yeah, I'll probably just order a Panasonic cap to replace it. But yeah, so I will at least order those because it is possible this power supply may need those parts. But I'm pretty sure this rectifying diode is shorted. And if that one's shorted, the other one may also be shorted. So I'll probably pull it and check it. I'll either pull it and check it or at least make sure I read the part and just go ahead and order one if I don't already have one. But yeah. All right. So I guess that's a good place to leave off. The motherboard appears to be in good condition. Luckily, these are standard chips, even if some of them are Mostech brand, so that could be a challenge. Power supply needs parts. I think the CRT tube looks good. The analog board looks good. So hopefully, when I get the power supply fixed, then hopefully it'll just power right up, and then I'll run into the problem of finding a way to boot it because I think it uses double sided single density discs or something like that. Double sided double density. I don't know, whatever the density is. I think this one has double sided drives. So, anyways, yeah, glad I could stream. So, thank you again to Dave and Jack and Will. And oh, I hope I didn't miss anyone. Because I always have this ability to remember N-1. Yeah, it was Will. Oh, and Stan. Yeah, Will, Stan, and Jack and Dave. Thank you for the tips. I will definitely put those towards some good use. And thank you all for joining me. Glad we all had some fun. No, 720K discs or three. I guess it'd be 360K. I don't know what size. I know the Kaypro Roman numeral 2 has single-sided drives, so they're going to be like the 180K or thereabouts. So I guess these might be 360K, but they're double-sided. In that, yeah, so they're probably 360K discs and not 180K. So, yeah, I should be on Dave's stream on Sunday. At least part of it, like usual. I may be able to join earlier than I did last Sunday. We'll see. See how Sunday goes. Sunday afternoon goes. I think it's supposed to be raining here, so that will dampen my desire to do things not at home that afternoon, so might be able to join sooner. We'll see. But yeah, I should be able to join on Dave's stream. And with that, before it gets too much later, I'd like to wish everyone else a great rest of your day. Thanks for joining. Smash that like button, subscribe and turn on notifications because I'm sure we'll have more Maypro fun with Kaypros. And yeah, I can understand the not wanting to collect Kaypro stuff because of the model confusion. I can understand that fully. And yeah, good night. And let me see here, make sure I got my finger in the correct place. So take care and God bless. Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. Don't forget to smash that like button. And if you've liked what you've seen, subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss the next video or live stream. And as always, thank you for all your support. I hope to see you next time. And until then, take care.